Life gives us moments when we have the opportunity to make a choice. And what we choose has the potential to change our lives forever. Join us now for another inspired episode of The Breakthrough. And now, please welcome the creator and host of the show, Jessica Dugas.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Breakthrough Show. However, this is a special edition, and we haven't done one of these in a little while. I'm really excited to dive in today. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas, and I'm thrilled today to take this journey to Kenya with you all. So why are we doing this? What is the purpose of this episode today? So, typically we talk about breakthrough moments on the show, and one of the things that I think has really struck me as powerful over the last year and a half or so, as we've gone through things together as a collective, is how much we are often all in our own bubbles. We don't realize what is going on outside of our space. And I think one of the most incredible things we can do for our own personal and even spiritual development is to explore other people, explore other places. And it can be so much fun to be able to do that. And we have the ability now with social media, with being so connected to people around the world, to be able to do that with everyone, even more than we could before. I was sharing with my children recently, that when I was younger, we had a pen pal when I was in grade school. And once we had those pen pals and we were able to meet in person, once that was over, we didn't have social to keep in contact with anymore. It was either you continue to write or you're done. You don't have that relationship anymore. And so they have such a beautiful opportunity, I feel like, to stay connected. So many more opportunities now. And one of the things that we can do through that connection is to get to learn about other cultures and other places. If truth be told, when we came into exploring doing this episode, I didn't know a lot about Kenya. I didn't know a lot about Africa, period, other than what we see in the movies here in the United States. I've never been there. I have been so blessed and lucky enough to make friends, including one of our guests today, in those in some of the countries in Africa. And so I did a little bit of research, and I was so impressed with some of the things that I learned about Kenya. And one of those things that I found out that was so meaningful to me is that so we really in our household are plant-based, and we're very focused on the animals and protection of animals and things like that. And one of the impressions that I had gotten through media and word of mouth and all that was that Africa was not always kind when it comes to animals. You see movies like Gorillas in the Mist and Congo and things like that that show you a different perspective. And when I went to learn about Kenya, I learned that hunting is actually illegal in Kenya, that it is a criminal act to hunt any protected animal. They have several places where the animals are even more protected. And so I was so impressed by that. And that was something that I didn't know, and something that we have the opportunity, like I said, now with social media and with the online world, to learn about those things and not just take what we hear as the truth or face value. We have so many opportunities. I would love to take a moment to invite you, if you're joining live from Facebook or YouTube, to share in the comments, say hello, and tell us where you're joining from, because I think that I would love the opportunity to know all of the different places that we have represented here today. Coming up my friend Aaron Hill is here today. Hi, Aaron. Good to see you. Aaron is a past guest of the Breakthrough Show as well, so we're really excited to have him in the audience. Coming up on the show today, on this special edition episode, you're going to meet two people who are going to blow you away. Brett Weiss is here from the Weiss Scholarship Foundation, and he's going to tell you all about the area of Kenya that he works in, and also we have returning guest on the show, Olivia Ambani, which I was telling her before the show, everybody always says, when is Olivia coming back on? Because we can never get enough of her singing and her music. And we're super excited to have her on and tell us about the area of Kenya that she lives in. And my hope for you is that through this exploration process that on the show today, that you'll hear about a country from different perspectives and know that every single country around the world is like that, that we all have good things and bad things, and we all have beautiful places and places that need work, and we all have so many different types of people. And I'm super excited to dive into that today. So when we come back, we're going to take a really quick break. Aaron's joining us from Baltimore, by the way. We have Ryan, and I know that's Tiffany behind the scenes joining us over on YouTube. We have Marissa here today. Hello and welcome. And of course, Olivia behind the scenes joining us from Kenya, which is where we're talking about today. We're going to take a really, really quick break though, you guys. And when we come back, we're going to meet Brett Weiss. So we'll be right back in just a second. Breakthroughs are about more than you might think. They're about discovering who you are, digging deep, reaching to the core of your soul. They're about healing yourself, understanding your beliefs, creating a ripple effect. And it's not just those initial moments that matter. It's about using them to bring more joy into our own lives and the lives of others. It's about having fun, letting loose, enjoying every moment life has to offer. It's about finding a safe space. It's about creating connection. Join us each and every month for exclusive programming, where we invite you to go beyond the breakthrough. So we ask you, are you ready? We'll see you online at thebreakthroughshow.com. Welcome back, everybody, to this very special edition of The Breakthrough Show. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas, and I want to welcome to the show Brett Weiss. He is the founder of the Weiss Scholarship Foundation. Brett, it's fantastic to have you here today.
Thank you very much, Jessica. I appreciate you having me, and hello to everybody out there watching the show.
I do want to take a really quick second and acknowledge my friend Gavin Kerr is watching in the audience. He is one of the guests coming up later on in the Breakthrough Show for season 5. So we're really excited about that. Brett, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you coming from in the world, and why is Kenya so close to your heart?
I live in Naperville, Illinois. It's a western suburb of Chicago. Lived in Chicago area my whole life. In 2009, I made a volunteer trip to Kenya, spent about 3 weeks in this little village called Dago, far southwestern part. And I just fell in love with the people. And they're the nicest, hardest working people you ever met. They're very, very poor. They're among the poorest people on earth. Most children quit school by 4th grade. And I just fell in love with them and decided I had to do something to help. I couldn't just walk away.
I love that, because I think so often we can go on these trips and we can go explore different places, and then it's sort of out of sight, out of mind. And I love that you had that passion to give back and help. Tell us a little bit about just what visiting that place has done for you in your own personal growth and in your own life, and getting outside of your own bubble, as we say.
There's so many things. We could do a whole show with this and that. It's made me a better person, and I'm a retired teacher now, but I was teaching up till a few years ago. I think it made me a better teacher. It gave me a much better perspective on the world. It helped me much to really appreciate all the blessings I have in my life. Right. I kind of knew I was very blessed, but when you go someplace and there's no electricity, no plumbing, barely any food, you really, really appreciate what you have. So it's really made me, I say, appreciate my life much more. It burst the bubble because it's a totally different world. There's a line, I'm a big Wizard of Oz person, that you're not in Kansas anymore. And my first day in Kenya, I realized I wasn't in Kansas anymore. And, what I do is I don't go there to tell them how to live or how to improve their lives. I go there to listen and learn about their culture, because they do a lot of things very different than we do. And I don't judge them. I just listen and learn and try to appreciate their world.
I love that. And we were actually talking for a few minutes before the show about how important that mindset has become in my own life, because I think for us, it's really easy for us to look into other cultures and other people's traditions and beliefs and say, oh, I don't like that, or I don't understand why they could do that. But if we come at it from the perspective of what can we learn from this, and also understanding that their lives are very different than ours. And of course they wouldn't do things how we would, because that doesn't make any sense.
The coolest thing, if I say that, in our world, and especially me, we're go, 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 rush, get it done. Their world is very laid back, very calm. If it doesn't get done right now, maybe in a few minutes it'll get done, and that's actually very healthy for me. I'm really actually much more at peace and much calmer when I'm there, because in my real world, I'm just always go, go, go.
Well, I'm convinced. Let's book a trip right now.
Okay, that's good. Yes.
So I need that. I need that. It's even in I think in the pandemic world in the last year and a half or so, even if we were home, we were still in our minds thinking like, well, what's next? What do we do now? And it's kind of that high anxiety space, and it sounds so lovely to just not.
Yes. Quite often I do a lot of walking there, and I'm with my Kenyan friends, and they meet somebody there. And, in our world, you kind of say, hey, how you going? And you kind of move on. In their world, they stand there and they really have a conversation, an in-depth conversation. And then they go, okay, fine. We'll see you soon. Bye. Yeah. I mean, we don't do that in our world. I'll call you tomorrow is what we say.
Yeah. And then you might not.
You'll totally forget. Yes.
Yes, exactly. So before we bring our other guest on today, I want to ask you, did you visit other places in Kenya or in Africa? And were you aware when you got there of how different these different villages or cities are within the country itself?
Well, a little bit. I've been to Rwanda also, but it's mostly Kenya. And I've studied Africa a lot in my life. But the reality is, you can read a lot of books, you can study, you can watch Netflix documentaries. You have to go there. You have to experience it. That's the only way to really get it.
Right.
And it's overwhelming. I've been there many times, and it's still overwhelming, the poverty that these people live with. And yet they get up every morning and work hard and are very positive about life. So it is kind of overwhelming. And so I recommend to everybody out there, take a trip like this. It will change your life all for the better. You'll wish, and you'll be like me. You'll wish you had done it earlier. You were like, why did I wait so long?
Well, I'm super excited about the possibilities of one day visiting there, especially now that I can say I feel like I have a friend in that area, and I want to bring her onto the screen now. Please welcome back to the show, everyone, Olivia Ambani. Welcome back, Olivia.
Hi, thanks for having me again.
Of course. I told you every time I'm going to harass you now. It's going to be often.
Okay.
I love it though. And when I initially talked to Brett about coming on the show, I thought I can't do this without Olivia. And I know that there are lots of people watching like me, like Tiffany, saying it's amazing learning about different cultures. I just love that. I'm so fascinated by everything that everyone else does. And so Olivia, what is it like have you been outside, visited other places outside of your area in Nairobi?
Yeah. So I was actually not even born in Nairobi. I was born in Kitale, which is Trans Nzoia, or maybe a bit closer to where Brett is, but not that close,
Yes.
like maybe a few hours to where he is. So I was born there, which is kind of more a farm. It's a farm city or farm area. So that's where I was actually born. So yeah, I've been into various parts of Kenya. So not just the city. So Nairobi is the capital city, and that's the equivalent of like New York or London, a lot different pace to where Brett is, for sure.
Yes.
Because even when we, who are mainly based in Nairobi, go somewhere else, we're like, why do you need to do this quicker? Like that. I think every capital city anywhere in the world is always a lot faster than when you leave to go to other cities. So yes, I have traveled to other parts of Kenya before.
Is it, do you ever have the experience of people saying to you, well, this must be what it's like there, and you're going, but that's not what it's like here at all. And I think many of us have that experience. I was telling Brett before we came on today that I was joking around with a friend of mine last night that lives in Canada, and I said, do people ever say to you, oh, you're in Canada, you must know my friend Jeff? Like, they don't realize that it's this big country. Do you experience that same thing where people think life is very different for you?
Yeah, I think I experienced it a lot when I went so I studied in the UK for university. So when I went there, it's like people would merge. Actually, they just merged the continent. They wouldn't even they'd say, oh, I know someone in Nigeria. You're like, they're very far from me. It's like saying, someone, I don't know, in Canada and you're in, I don't know, in New York, you're in the States. So that I experienced that a lot. And then a lot of assumptions. And like at first it gets frustrating and you can get really angry about it, because for me, I was like, well, we have to learn a lot about the West, or we have to learn about Europe, we have to learn about the States. But it was like, why can't someone else learn about my continent? It's just basic things like, we are a continent that has countries just the way Europe does that, North America. So there was a lot of like, don't you guys have a capital? Like a lot of questions. So at first it was very frustrating. And then I thought, you know what, I could get angry and it will frustrate me. So I decided I'm going to use that as a teaching moment, or like an opportunity to share my culture and where I'm from, because I'm probably the only person from there they're going to meet for now. So I have an opportunity to let them know something different. So then I just started to share and like let them see a different perspective of like, we are different, but there are some things that are the same. So I found it like traveling generally can open your eyes to other people's perspectives, and just understanding that sometimes, as frustrating as it is for you, you could also, maybe they just don't know, and as much as like there's Google, there's this, sometimes people even in their own country do not travel. So they're only in their city, they're only like not exposed to much. So I decided, you know what, I'll share about where I'm from. Hopefully now it leaves them wiser and more educated about a different part of the world.
Yes. I love that perspective, because it's the same way here in the United States, where I live in the South now, which is a very different world than where I grew up in New England. And people even here have their thoughts down south of the people up north, and the people up north have their thoughts about people down south. And I won't tell you what we think about those folks out west, Brett. But we're taught, I think, from a very early age to lean on what we know and what our culture is and what our we, instead of what is the rest of the world look like. And so what would you say is the best way for us to approach people, Olivia, who might come in and just assume that things are one certain way about our country?
I think the first thing I would say is, whoever you're interacting with from anywhere in the world, listen, ask questions and listen. And then also just understand they might get upset by the question, because unfortunately, different questions have different meanings to different people, right? So for instance, for me, I used to get, oh, but why is your English so good? Or how can you understand what I'm saying, right? To someone else, it can be very offensive to someone who's like, but we learn, we have to learn it in this language. Right. But I'd say always getting upset at that, it might not help all of us. So it's to understand someone's question, where someone is coming from, in both perspectives. But just to know that, if you want to experience someone else's culture, you want to learn about it, be open to asking questions, and then like be open to knowing that you might actually say the wrong thing. Unfortunately, we're all learning. And also on the other end, to be gracious. We all just need to be kind to each other, because I think that's the only way our world is going to be better, that we're going to grow. Because if we are so angry at each other, I feel like we're not going to get anywhere. So yeah, and just being open, like being open to exploring. You might not agree with me, you might not understand me, but if you listen to me, you might learn something. So I think that's what I would say. And like, I think there's goodness everywhere. I really believe that there's goodness everywhere, no matter how difficult the situation or culture or style to you. Yeah, I believe there's goodness everywhere. Yeah.
I love, so beautiful. I agree 100%. And that was the other thing that I learned when I was doing my little virtual trip to Kenya this last week. There are 68 languages in Kenya.
We have many languages.
I had no idea there were that many.
Yeah,
well,
and
go ahead.
I'm blown away by that.
We have so many languages, and I think also on top of that, so I'm from a specific tribe. So I'm a Luya. That's from the western part of Kenya, which is actually quite close to, I believe, where Brett is, because they're in Nyanza. So they're like our neighboring kind of region. So in my tribe, Luyas, we have dialects, and the dialects are actually quite different. They're like almost like different languages. So we have about 13 to 14 dialects. And even within our country, there are lots of people who don't know that all Luyas don't speak the same dialect, and it's actually quite different. So even within our own countries, you will find that there's so many things we don't know about each other. But yeah, we have many languages. We do.
How many do you, I mean, obviously you speak English, but, and I know that we mentioned Swahili. Do you speak any other languages or dialect?
Yeah, so normally what most Kenyans, you normally speak either English or Kiswahili or both. And then maybe you might speak your mother tongue, and that depends if you were taught when you're younger or you learned when you're a bit older. So if your mother and father are from the same tribe, and if they don't have too many dialects, you might speak that. But then you might maybe have grown up in a different region, so you pick up that language. But for me, I speak English, Kiswahili, and then Maragoli, which is a specific dialect that my mother is from. So those are the three that I speak. Yeah.
That sounds like such a beautiful tradition to learn what your parents, the dialect where your parents are from. Brett, I need to know, how confusing was it for you when you went over there and were like, what am I speaking here?
Well, it becomes a little easier. You know, we're spoiled in the United States. We just think everybody should speak English. And as Olivia knows, because Kenya was a British colony, most of them speak English. Now, the parents in this little village who've had no education, they really only know Luo. They're Luo, the Luo tribe, different than Olivia's tribe. And that's all they know, their mother tongue. But these children are amazing. By the time they're in about 4th or 5th grade, they're very fluent in 3 languages. Luo, their mother tongue they grew up with, Kiswahili, and English. And to be frank, people ask me, how is their English? They speak English better than I do, because they speak British English, proper English, not the English that we speak in the United States.
What? It's not proper here? What are you talking about?
You're going to get in trouble, Brett.
No, well, the British are mad at us because we have ruined the English language.
It's fair. It's fair. Because I think I talk to people all the time that are learning different languages, and I am relearning Spanish right now, because I have some friends that are close friends that are in Puerto Rico and different places, and everything's just so like, this is the way you say it, period, end of story. And here it's like, we could give you 50 different slang words for one thing.
Yes.
It's true. Like, languages are so interesting, because I'm also like making sure, as much as I grew up speaking my mother tongue, like I didn't speak it now a lot with anyone else other than my family, right? So then I'm actually doing an audiobook so I can remember words and learn new words, and like, and languages evolve, because obviously for some of our languages, certain things weren't invented when the language was created. So like email wasn't there before. Now we have email. Like smartphone wasn't there before. So like, what are you going to use, now in replacement for that? So it's really interesting, like how languages are evolving and just how you keep up with that.
Right. What is your favorite thing about Kenya, Olivia?
Wow, there's so many things, but I'll try and summarize. Well, one, I love the weather. I remember when I went to England, I was like, oh my gosh, take me back home. So I'm a sun person also because I love the weather. So obviously it's not the same weather everywhere in the country, but like generally it's like a pretty warm most times, but then we also have our rainy season when it gets extremely cold. So you'll be quite surprised at how cold. So I love
now
the
when
weather.
you say warm, what do you mean by warm, Olivia? Because
So
we can have
Thank you. Ask her what
warm,
she means by cold.
Warm varies depending on where you are in Kenya. So in the capital, it's like 24 to 19 degrees Celsius, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, centigrade. Yeah. So that's like, I'm not sure what it is in your equivalent, if that's your summer or not, or close. And then like the coast is a lot warmer. Like it's the warmest part of the coast, and like the northeastern, like those are the very warm parts of Kenya. So they're normally quite warm. And I think even where you are, Brett, Nyanza, it can be a lot warmer than than Nairobi. But then there are places where it's really cold, like it's especially near Mount Kenya. So yeah, near Mount
Jessica, let me put this in perspective for US people, Jessica. In Kenya, if it's below 60 degrees Fahrenheit, they are freezing. They think that's really cold, and I'm in a t-shirt and shorts, and they're freezing. So
basically how it is in Alabama when it gets below 50 degrees here and they've all got earmuffs on, and I'm like, you're cold? What's wrong with you?
Yes. We need to get Olivia to Chicago in February for the cold and snow.
What? No, thanks. I was in like Virginia when it was this crazy wind. I was like, no, thank you. No.
That's nothing compared to Chicago.
No, thank you.
Olivia will pass.
So that's the weather. But I think actually my favorite thing is about the people. Like I feel for me, it's the people. Like I am so blessed to be Kenyan because I feel like we are a very communal community, even though things are evolving. Like I was raised by my aunties. My mom was there, obviously, supporting me. But, there were so many people who want you to win. And I feel that's something that I love about Kenyans is no matter what is happening, you will find someone who can support you. We even have this thing, like when someone is trying to go to school, it's called Harambe, which is basically like a fundraiser. So we've known about it. Like if someone is trying to go to school and they don't have enough money, people can come together and like contribute. So I think that's just something that I feel we've had culturally, and I hope it continues, even though things evolve. So for me, it's about the people and the way that they're so resilient, and the fact that we, like, no matter what's happening, whether the government is coming through or not, we're like, we'll figure it out. I think Kenya is how it is because of the people, because the people are just like, we have to figure it out. There's no way out. So yeah, for me, it's the people. And then I guess the last thing is, not last, but because I have to summarize, I love the food. The food is amazing. Like mangoes, avocados, like ugali, chicken, and like the fruit is so, yeah. You need to come, Jessica. That's all I'm saying. You need to come and experience.
I know.
The amazingness that is Kenya.
Yes, I feel like that, especially, like I said, I feel like before this week, I really didn't know a whole lot outside of, you and I talking, or some of my other friends that I've made in different parts of Africa. But even from what I've learned, I'm just so impressed with so many different things, and I'm motivated. See, when we take the time, this is the problem though. When we take the time to learn about it, then we want to go, and we want to go all the time, all the places and all the time. Now I will have to go, and I will add, I don't know, I'll figure out. I'm just glad that I have a friend there that does speak English, so I won't be completely lost.
And you'll be fine. You'll be so shocked because most people, as Brett said, speak well, especially in the cities, they speak. So you'll almost be like, but yeah, so you'll be absolutely fine. And then also there's the ease of like M-Pesa, which is basically a mobile money transfer. Honestly, I think that like changed the world, not just Kenya, because you just needed a basic phone and you can transfer money to the next person. Like not even a smartphone, like the most basic phone you can think about. So it was created there. It was created in Kenya. And it was actually, I feel like, a solution that helped a lot of people, because having a bank account used to be quite a process. Like someone has to invite you, and they had all these different things that you needed to have. So I felt it was quite elitist. So not everyone could access a bank account. But now when M-Pesa was created, it meant that anyone, no matter where you are, so long as you have a phone, you can send money to someone else, and there's agents all over. So for me, I think that's one of the greatest inventions that we have, and I think it's affected the financial industry like this globally in many different ways. So very proud about that.
We're learning so much today. I'm so excited. Brett, tell us what you've come to learn. What are some of your favorite things about Kenya?
Well, Olivia really stole it from me. It's the people. That's what drew me back. My first trip, I had no intention of ever going back again. And by the time I landed back in Chicago, I said, I got to go back. I have to do something. So it's the people. I mean, that's what really draws you. They're kind. I mean, I visit many mud huts in this village. They all live in little mud huts. You walk into a mud hut, they're as poor as can be. They always have food to offer you. They always have a drink to offer you. The hospitality is overwhelming. They appreciate you coming to visit them and talk to them. So, we miss so much of that in our society. So it is pure joy to visit with the people there and learn, get their perspectives on life. I worry if my iPhone isn't working properly. They don't have to worry about that. Unfortunately, what they're worried about is, where's my next meal going to come from? Is my child going to get an education? Where am I going to get clothes? They're worried about those things. And so, as I said earlier, it puts everything in perspective.
Yeah, it's really now. Everybody wants to go to Kenya now. Thanks a lot, you guys. It really does. And I think it can be easy for us to say, well, when we look at the village, for example, that you work in, Brett, that it is a very different economy and culture and everything than even where Olivia's at. And it's easy for us to look in and think that it's all that way. But it's no different here in the United States. We have very poor areas of our country and then very affluent areas as well. And so it's interesting to see such a large range of difference within the same country, because it reminds us that it's like that. It's like that everywhere, that there really are these big differences. So you really enjoy the people. And tell us, Brett, a little bit about your foundation, Weiss Scholarship Foundation. What does that serve, and how do people help?
Sure. Well, I discovered in my trip that most children in this village quit school by 4th grade, what they call class 4, and almost nobody had ever gone to high school. And sadly, this is true, as Olivia knows, for much of Kenya. So as an educator myself, I decided I needed to do something about that. And we started this idea in 2011. In 2012, we gave our first scholarship. We have given 79 scholarships. And basically what we do is we send children to high school. And then from there, at the end of high school, they take an exam called the KCSE. It's like an SAT, ACT exam. And of our 24 kids who've graduated, 9 have made it to university. We have a couple getting close to graduating. And then the rest we send to vocational schools. So we have young people learning to be carpenters and plumbers and tailoring and auto mechanics and things like that, so that they can have a real career. And Jessica, this is the first public announcement I'm going to make of this. Olivia knows the KCPE scores, the 8th grade scores, just came in the last few days. We are going to be awarding 22 more scholarships. And a very important part of that number is we are firm on all of our money gets equally divided between girls and boys, because while boys have it really tough, sadly, it's a very brutal life for girls. So we're going to do 11 new girls and 11 new boys, and it'll take us over 100 in terms of the scholarships that we've given. And these are all kids, they never would have gone to high school. Our foundation is the only chance they have even to go to high school.
That's so amazing. So amazing. And I know you were saying that everybody's excited in the audience as well. I know you were saying before about how how they're learning advanced things. Like there's so many just super smart kids that are a part of your program as well. I asked you before the show, but I wanted to touch on this here. How different is the education there than it is here in the States, and what we might be accustomed to here?
The format of it is pretty simple. Now, it's very British. All the terminology is British. Like what we call a senior in high school is 4 and 4 there. The difference is, though, schools are much, much tougher for children there. The teachers there were really tough. I'm a retired teacher. If I was tough on my kids here in the US the way they are there, the parents would have got rid of me. You know, they're very tough. And also, as Olivia knows, in their first couple of years of high school, now these are boarding schools, they're taking 11 subjects. 11 subjects. Think about a kid here taking 11 subjects. Their third and fourth year, they generally take about 8, not quite as many. That's less. So they're very tough on these children. They push and push and push. I told Jessica before the show, a friend of mine who's a teacher there said to me, because I asked him, why are you so tough? And he said, look, we're a very poor country. And the only way we're going to get better is if these kids work really, really hard. So they push them in ways that we really don't push kids here. And a quick side, Nicholas, who's one of the boys on the cover of my book, he is an engineering major at the University of Nairobi in his last year. We did a Zoom call a few weeks ago. He told me about a GPS project he's working on to predict weather patterns. Now, I'm not an engineer. I don't know anything about how GPS works. He's explaining this to me, and I had to pretend like I go, okay, Nicholas, okay. I had no idea what he was telling me. It was a foreign language, you know. And he was just young. I mean, a few years ago, he was living in a little mud hut, thinking he'll never even get to high school. And now he's about ready to graduate with an engineering major. And it's so exciting to see them blossom.
Yeah. I think what you're doing is presenting an opportunity. And we talk often about on this show, on the Breakthrough Show, about how, you know, we might have an opportunity come our way. We might have a breakthrough moment where we realize something, but unless we take it by the horns and say, okay, let's do it, we're going to do it, you know, and follow through, then it's not going to actually matter. And so I really want to acknowledge, and I feel like you do such a beautiful job of that, Brett, the hard work that all of these children and families put in towards their education and taking advantage of that opportunity that is presented. Do you have anything you would like to share about that?
Well, okay, I'm going to go back when you were talking about poverty before, because one of the most common questions I get from people in Kenya is they'll ask me if there are poor people in the United States. And when I say yes, they're shocked because they think of all of us as, you know, the streets are lined with gold and all of that. But the important point there, I'll tell them what poverty is like here, and they laugh and they go, that's not poor. Poverty in Kenya is very different. Poverty there means family income less than $2 a day, no electricity, no plumbing, mud huts, barely any food. Most of these kids get one meal a day. AIDS has devastated that part of the world. Very few of our children have both parents, and many don't have either. And they're lucky if like a grandma or an auntie takes them in so they have a place to live. So poverty is very different. I know sadly, we have many, many children in our own country, in the US, who have to overcome enormous challenges every day. And that's a shame. But these children face challenges most people here can't even imagine, especially the girls, the challenges that they face every day. And every day I kind of learn about more challenges that they face, and it's really sad. And I'm even more amazed when I see how well these kids are doing, that they have an opportunity to show how bright they are and succeed. And I'm looking forward to the next few years, all the different professions they're going to go into. All of our kids are still in school somewhere, but when I can say we have an engineer and we have a doctor and we have a teacher and a carpenter and a plumber, that's going to be really exciting because these young people are going to make Kenya better. They're going to improve the country there. And I'm very excited for that.
That's amazing. It's such a good point. And it's not anything as we're looking into different cultures and we're looking at the different levels of poverty and things like that. It's not anything that I think we need to look into and feel guilty or bad about our own space, but it's an awareness. It's opening your eyes to how, like we talked about, Olivia talked about so beautifully as well, of just how we're different. But also there are so many things that I think we can learn from each other, and so many things that I think we can notice as similarities. Immediately when I met Olivia, we connected about music, and that's something that I think is a universal language in some way. And so we do have many things in common. What would you say? I know we talked about that, you know, everybody has a traditions and things because it fits their culture, their lifestyle. But what are some things you've seen, Brett, that you feel like, is there anything you feel like maybe we could adopt here?
Well, I'm repeating, sorry, but it's really the more appreciating every little thing we have, really appreciating it, and not taking anything for granted. I mean, once again, these kids only get 1 meal a day, 1 meal a day, and it's not much. You know, and so just appreciate what we have, all the blessings that we have. And I guess, and then take an attitude of let's share some of our blessings, because most people in the world don't have anywhere near what we have in the United States. You know, more than half the children in the world get little to no education, and it's so sad. So let's share some of our blessings, and give blessings to children who really need our help.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Olivia, is there anything that you would love to see us adopt in different parts of the world that we could learn from you and your culture?
I think, well, one of the main things I would say is that to just continually be open to exploring other people's cultures as well, and to educate yourself about other people, because I feel like that will make you a better person. And then I think also just this is something actually that I feel like I found out when I went to UK that I wish they would adopt from us, is that how elderly people are treated, them being taken care of. I found it really painful to see how people were so mean. They were really mean to elderly people. They'd be very rude and just be like, oh, hurry up. And it's like, I wish there was more of a respect for elderly people, just globally, and just having a community system where they're taken care of. I do understand why, maybe some people have to take them to a home and different things, but I think not for them not to lose their families, especially when their families are still there, to have that visit your grandparents or, your parents, it makes such a big difference, and they have so much value to offer you and your children. So that's something I would say we still do it a lot here, where your grandparents, they're visited, or actually they move in with the family. I think that's something that's, really great. And I think that should be adopted. And I think just something else I wanted to say was that, yes, as much as Kenya has its challenges and things, I think sometimes, when you speak this place has poverty or it's poor, people just think that's the only thing that is there in the country, even though that is not what Brett is saying. But it's also for people to understand there's contrasts, right? So there'll be places that are super affluent, and people their life is amazing, and then there's some places that are very challenged, people really need a lot of support. And if you find organizations like Brett's or even other local organizations in Kenya, because they are there, that are supporting different causes, do support them. And not just in Kenya, in wherever you are. And so something I started to do was I tithe, but not to the church. I tithe to people and things. So every month I try to give something small. It might be food, it might be my time, it might be my money. And I think we can all give something. It doesn't have to be a lot, but I think it could make a very big difference. So, maybe someone could tithe to Brett's organization, and you may say, I don't have money, but you have a skill set, right? Maybe you have knowledge that someone else has. So yeah, that's something I would encourage people to do, is that you can make a difference by just doing something, no matter how small it might be.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%. And I'm tearing up over here as you were talking about specifically the way that the elderly are treated as well. Because Monday was would have been my grandfather's birthday. He's not with us anymore, but I remember when he got sick, and sometimes he was not treated well, and not by my grandmother by any means. She cared for him like no one's business, but when he was in care and hospital and nursing homes and things like that, it was not anything we want to see. And it's so important. What I've seen just from looking in is such an honoring of where you come from, whether we're talking about the language or the food, or just honoring your parents and your heritage. And then also, as a way to honor that, with what Brett is doing through his foundation of making sure you get the children get the education and can make it better, because I mean, I think we need to do that everywhere. You made a great point, Olivia. Absolutely. I want to take a quick break and then we're going to come back, and Olivia is going to sing for us today, which we're all waiting for. So we're going to take a quick break, you guys, and we'll be right back with Olivia Ambani.
Thank you.
Welcome back to this special edition of the Breakthrough Show. I'm back with Olivia Ambani, who we've heard sing before, but what's another time? It's just it's what we need more of in this world. Olivia, you're going to sing for us a song today called Yes, I Love You. Tell us a little bit about what that song means to you.
So, Yes, I Love You is basically a song that I wrote when I was just thinking about how do you tell someone that you love them in the simplest way. And that's how it came. And it was actually one of the simple songs that I've ever written. And I was thinking, should I add more words? And I was like, no, let's just keep it simple. You want to tell someone you love them, just, tell them that you love them in the most simple way and say, yes, I love you. So that's kind of how that song was written.
I love it. I love it. All right, you guys. Well, here to perform Yes, I Love You from Nairobi, Kenya is Olivia Ambani.
Thank you. Oh, yes, I love you just the way you are, and I. Yes, I love you just the way you are, and I. Oh, I, oh, I, oh, I. Oh, I, oh, I, oh, I. Can't you see the love you have received, oh, you? Can't you see the love you have received, oh, you? My love, it's all for you. My love, it's all for you. And I love just the way you are, and I love just the way you are, and I love the way you are, love the way you are, my love. Can't you see the love that you could give for you? Can't you see the love that you could give for you? My love, yes, we could love. My love, yes, we could love. Yes, I love you just the way you are, and I. Yes, I love you just the way you are, and I. My love is all for you. My love, it's all for you. And I love just the way you are, and I love just the way you are, and I love the way you are. Love the way you are. Yes, I love the way you are. Love the way you are. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, so amazing as always. That was fantastic. I was sad because I was having some tech issues on my side over here and everybody was enjoying it. I'm like, but I can't hear it. It's so good though. I get to watch the replay. That's what's fantastic. Olivia, thank you so much for sharing your gift of music with us. I'm always so thankful when you are here, and I know that everybody is enjoying it. We have Brandon out in the audience, and we have Judith enjoying it, and also Ryan and Tiffany behind the scenes. Thank you so much, you guys, for being here and listening to Olivia sing today. Olivia, would you like to share with everybody about something special that happened recently and where one more place we can hear your music?
Yeah, so I had the awesome opportunity of having one of my songs, the song is called Falling Star, appear in a movie called Just in Time that's showing on Netflix worldwide. So yeah, it was a massive opportunity. I can't believe it happened. I literally, the story of how it happened was I was watching this movie on YouTube, saw a director who had that movie on YouTube, found their website, and kind of like sent an email on a form and filled in and said, hey, I'm so-and-so, I have some music in case you'd like to use it for your movie. And they basically responded. And long story short, that's how my music got in their movie. And yeah, it's just one of those things that you dream of and it's actually happened. So yeah, if you would like to hear my music in more places than just Spotify and Apple Music, it's now on Netflix in a movie called Just in Time.
Yes, I was so excited and you've been doing so many amazing things. Truthfully, you did a makeup campaign you had done, and the pictures were just, I mean, we were all jealous.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. So I got to do something with L'Oreal because they were doing this campaign called Style Shifters, and they wanted like just different women, and they were actually celebrating women with different types of, and the fact that we can just, shift our style. So I got to be part of that, and they got to glam us up and took amazing photos. So yeah, I was really happy to be part of that campaign as well.
I love it. I love it. All right, Olivia, we're going to switch gears and talk a little bit more with Brett, but thank you so much for sharing your music with us today and for also sharing your perspective about Kenya as well. You offered such a beautiful backdrop, and now we all want to come visit.
Thank you so much. And you can find more of my music on YouTube. So if you want to search for Olivia Ambani, I will probably put it in the comment section and wherever everyone is watching so they can have an easy time. And if you want, you can subscribe to my channel.
Absolutely. And don't forget, you guys, all the links for everybody that have ever been on The Breakthrough Show are also at thebreakthroughshow.com. So if you ever are like, I can't find the link, you can always go to thebreakthroughshow.com and find everybody through that platform as well. Olivia, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, you guys, I am going to invite our friend Brett back on the screen. And did you enjoy the music, Brett?
Yes, I did. It makes me want to run to O'Hare Airport and get on a plane and go to Kenya. So yeah, I have been ever since I met you, Jessica. Every now and then I tell Alexa to play her music. So yeah, I enjoyed that. That was great.
I love that. That's one of my favorite geek out moments is getting people that I know that are fantastic musicians, of getting Alexa to play it. And even, by the way, you guys, if you didn't know, you can ask Alexa to play the Breakthrough Show podcast episodes. You can ask her to do that as well. So it's super fun to get to do that. Brett, tell us a little bit about how people can help your foundation.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, obviously, everything we do is only because of very generous donors, and people donate from a little to a lot. One of the coolest things about what we do is how little it costs to help these children. We send children to 4 years of high school. These are boarding schools, room and board, books, fees, tuition, everything, for $3,500 for all 4 years. That comes down to $3 a day. $3 a day totally changes the child's life. So for Jessica's show, I put together a little promotion. If you go to our website, and Jessica's put the link in the chat there, if you set up a $21 per month recurring donation, at least $21 per month, I will send you a free Weiss Scholarship Foundation t-shirt. And I wrote a book about all this stuff called Just Give Them a Hug, and the rest will be easy. So if you set up that $21 a month recurring donation, I'd be glad to send you that. And we would very much appreciate it. And then obviously we keep in touch. I do a lot to help our donors stay up to date with pictures and videos and letters and report cards. And so they really can see all the great things that are happening because of their donation. So would love for all of you to become, I call it joining our family of donors. So Jessica, thank you for giving me the opportunity to do my little promo, because that's how we help children, only with donations.
Absolutely. And this is something that I know Sylvia Tam, that's been on our show before. We have a group of families who are really interested in having our children learning about volunteering and donating and things like that, and how that we can give back to different people around the world. Is there a way, Brett, for any of our kids to get in? Like, could we write a letter? Could we color a picture and send it? Like, Is there anything kids could get involved?
I have several former students who are on our advisory board and some of them are middle school teachers. Two of them are. And we've done a number of letter exchanges and picture exchanges, things like that. We've even done some video exchanges recently. When we do letter exchanges, the only way to get letters to this village is somebody has to take them there. There's no, you can't mail things there. Right. So COVID has obviously interrupted that and so on. But yes, we love it. There are a bunch of kids here, 2 different middle schools. They know a lot about children in Dago. They've traded letters. They do these cool pictures and so on. I would love to do that, Jessica.
That would be awesome. So yes, I will absolutely get you hooked up with Sylvia as well, because I know several families, a lot of us are homeschoolers as well. So we're always looking for volunteer opportunities. And I think that would be fantastic to get involved. I used to love having a pen pal when I was little, and the opportunity to learn about other cultures through that as well. Brett, thank you so much for the work that you're doing in the world. I think sometimes it can be challenging to realize that, or to want to help outside of what is in your immediate circle. And I think you've done that beautifully and given us a platform where we can do that as well. So thank you, Brett, for the work that you do.
Well, thank you very much. It's been an honor to be here. Thank you for the opportunity I love sharing the story, and hopefully we'll get some more donors, and more donors means we can help more children.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. I want to bring Olivia back on really quick to say goodbye to everybody. As we're going out, Olivia, do you have anything that you would like to leave with everyone today about any warm thoughts you have about your Kenya?
I think I'd just like to say Kenya's amazing. You need to come and visit, and definitely do support Brett's organization. I feel every organization that's helping, whether it's Kenya or another country, even if it's in the States, helping children and helping people have a better life should be supported. So definitely give. It will make a difference no matter how small. Even if you can't do like every month, if you can give once, give. And just to say that it makes a difference. You might not realize what difference it makes. And just that we all have the power to make a difference in our lives. And maybe we could even start with the people around us. Like, especially with COVID, there's so many people who have lost their jobs, or maybe they're just struggling with the way things are. Check up on your friends, check up on your family, check up on those people around you. Maybe start there and then see what other organizations that you want to support. Because I feel like if we all did something small, like honestly, we'll make the world a better place. So yeah, I guess that's my
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much, Olivia. Brett, do you have anything that you would like to leave everyone with today?
I really just want to thank Olivia because of COVID, I haven't been in Kenya in quite a while. So you made me feel like I'm back in Kenya when you started talking about eating ugali and chapati and all the wonderful food. As soon as the show is over, I got to go eat some food. Unfortunately, I don't have chapati or ugali, but I'll eat some good American food because you made me very hungry. Olivia, thank you. I love your music. I love what you're doing. You're an inspiration to the entire world when you sing. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I love that. And I want to thank both of you for being here today and sharing this space with me. I haven't had the opportunity in my life to travel to many places, and I've kind of gotten the bug since I've started this show of wanting to go everywhere. But sometimes it can be a little bit of a challenge with my house full of children around here. So, but I know one day I will come out there and get to enjoy it. And I hope to meet you one day in person as well, Brett, and I think it'll be wonderful. I want to thank everybody for watching or listening wherever you are in the world. If you're on the replay, please do use the comment section. I'm sure Brett and Olivia would be happy to answer any questions that you might have. So just come through and feel free to do that. Aaron, we had Gavin, Cheryl, Tiffany, Arj, Judith, Brandon, so many amazing people, and the Shawana, so many people in the comments today. Thank you so much for being here. And we will see you Friday for another episode of The Breakthrough. Thanks so much, Brett and Olivia, for being here today.
Thanks for having us. Bye.
Asante sana. Asante sana.
Bye, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of The Breakthrough. Please visit our website at www.thebreakthroughshow.com. And be sure to join our After the Breakthrough community powered by Patreon. We look forward to seeing you next week. Same time, same place for another inspiring episode.